is one of my favourite videos to film. The things I've been up to in the month, the decks, the practices, the books, the secondhand finds, the things that have been feeding my soul, filling my cup. Should we get into it? Let's! Hello, welcome back to the space. My name is Angel. Have we met before? If we haven't, it's lovely to meet you, and if we have, I'm so happy to see you here again. Lovely for you to be joining me one more time. So today we're talking all the good stuff that happened in August, and I did the same thing as I usually do. I went round, grabbing some decks and some books and things, and I was thinking, I don't really think I did very much for August. And I looked back into my journal, I was like, oh, actually, yeah, I did actually do quite a bit. I've got quite a bit to talk about. So that's quite fun for us, is it not? Because that's going to make an interesting, hopefully, fingers crossed, toes crossed, arms and legs crossed video. And without further chatting, let's get into the decks I was using for the month of August. So let's get into the decks that I've had the most time on my desk this month. We have the Dream Song Oracle, which is a mass market deck. I found this secondhand on Vinted. This is the Curious Travels tarot deck. It used to be indie, now mass market, and this is my heavily modified Hush tarot that I now use as an intuitive oracle. These three were fantastic together. I'm going to start flipping some cards, and I'm going to say to you that I tend to generally use a set of decks for Dawn Michelle's practice. I'm a Dawn Michelle's weaver, can I say? And then I tend to use other readings that I'm going to be working with throughout the month. I tend to bring in another set of decks, and these three just spoke so well together. They gave such excellent messages, and I felt that what I was actually working with this month, which was my Dark Passenger and my Inner Child work, kind of spilled out and touched everything else within my practice this month, and so it just made sense to continue reading with the same decks. So these three have just been amazing. This one is really, really supportive, which I'm really, really thankful for. This one has led me on I'm going to get into that in a second. This one's led me on a bit of a merry-go-round, I'm going to say, and this one has been a really great deck as a clarifier. Now, this deck is the guidebook is written by Angie Sullins, and I do find that Angie Sullins decks for me are a little bit of a hit and miss. I've got a couple of their decks, and Witch, Woman in Total Control of Themselves, that oracle, that guidebook just totally doesn't resonate for me at all, whereas this guidebook has really, really resonated for me. So I'm really, really glad I brought this one in. And I do feel as well this one's going to be a really versatile deck. I filmed another video recently where I paired this one with the Alchemical Tarot. I've also paired it with the Crow Tarot. And what's the other deck I've paired it with recently? There was another one. Was it the Japaritsi Tarot? It might be. It was a strange combination, but I promise you, it really, really worked. So I think this one's going to be a real versatile deck in my collection. So I'm very happy with those. So these are the ones that got the most playtime on my desk. I'm also going to say I did a bit of meditation with my deity this month, and got the message through that animal allies ought to pay attention to animals in my messages, and to give a bit of turn my focus onto the animals that I was experiencing within my day-to-day life. So so these decks really spoke to that for me, I'm going to say. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm babbling. I also bought this book forward, The Hidden Meaning of Birds, a spiritual field guide. This has got some beautiful, beautiful illustrations in it, and I was putting this forward when I was seeing different birds in my environment, and just laying more focus to the wildlife that I was seeing around me. I also had a bit of a bad experience this month, very recently actually. The last week? It was yesterday when I came home from work, and it was the day before actually. Yeah, it was. And I kid you not, I have my kitchen window open about this much every day. I don't close it when I go to work. And I came back, what day is it today? Doesn't matter. Whatever day it was, I came back, and my kiddie boy was playing with something. I had a shoebox out for him because he likes to lay in the shoebox, and he was like fuffling about with his shoebox when I came in the door, and I was like, what's he doing? Has he found an insect or something? And I heard something against the box, and I was like, what's that? And before I could make it up the stairs to see what was going on, this blooming bird flew at me, and it scared the bejesus out of me because I don't like fluttery things. It frightens me. And the bird disappeared, and I was like, where's the bird gone? Where's the bird gone? And it was like a comedy film. The bird had landed on my back and was holding on to my jumper. I freaked out. I was like, oh, poor bird. It must have been scared for its life. Not only was it being hunted by a cat, but it was being, you know, I don't know. It was being frightened by me being silly. Anyway, so I picked up my kiddie boy so that he couldn't get to the bird, and you know, luckily I was by the front door, and the bird, you know, I ushered the bird out. But it was a whole comedy. If I filmed it, I could play it to you because it was such a blooming, you know, it was so silly. And then unfortunately I came home yesterday, day before, I can't remember, whatever day it was, and another bird had come in through that little opening in the window. And my boy must have thought it was blooming Christmas Eve, because that poor bird, it was not in any kind of shape. Unfortunately, it had already left this realm. Oh, it was awful. Poor bird, poor bird. So I've closed the window now because obviously, you know, these. I mean, it was a little bluebird. They are very small, but I mean, the window space is like this. It's crazy. So I took the bird out into the woods and popped some flowers on it, and you know, I felt so bad, and I was really disappointed in my boy, my kitty boy. Not that it's his fault. It's just his instincts. But all the rest of the evening, I was like, you know, although I wasn't, you know, didn't tell him off or anything, because obviously, you know, it's not his fault. It's my fault because I left the window open. I was just really like, I was thinking, oh, that poor bird, and it suffered, and awful. What was my point? So my point was that I have obviously been moving my focus to the wildlife and the birds that I've been seeing throughout the month, and what they might mean for me within my spiritual practice. That was a long chat there. Let's get on to a couple of other decks that I've been using this month, and also let's talk about some art witchery and some other goodies that I've been getting into in the month of August. Let's get talking about it. So we're bringing the Hush Tarot back for a bit more of an explanation. This deck has led me on a merry-go-round or a goose chase this month. I'm going to say this has been my favourite deck of the month, most definitely. It's really opened up some inner dialogue with some darker facets. I have spoken about my inner child dark passenger, which I do promise I'm going to do a video and go a lot more in depth with the work that I'm doing. But the journey that I went on with this deck this month tapped me into this dark passenger. That's it's almost like this, you know, this inner child that's been traumatized and is hiding behind these disguises to keep themselves safe, which has in some way developed into this dark passenger that I'm carrying with me. That is my inner saboteur. They are sabotaging me to try and keep us safe, and trying to keep me away from change, and trying to keep me in the old ways. And they're trying to, you know, be at the helm. They're trying to hold the reins, and they want total control. And I did some really, what's the word? I did some work earlier on in the month with this deck, and I felt really positive about it. And I was like, wow, I feel like I've, you know, really taken a step, and I'm really beginning to understand this facet of myself, you know, this inner saboteur. And naively, I was thinking, you know, we're on the same page, and I'm going to work through this, and I'm going to try and meet this facet of self with, you know, with compassion and, you know, with understanding. And I'm not going to be fearful of it, which I have been previously. I've been trying to, you know, keep it contained, because I know what this facet is capable of, and what happens when I, you know, release the lock on it. And so earlier in the month, I was doing readings for this deck, and you know, it felt really positive, and I was thinking, you know, excellent, we're on the same page, and you know, everything's, you know, fantastic, and everything's going to be rainbows and butterflies, and it's all good. And then I suddenly came to my senses and realised that that inner saboteur is just telling me what I want to hear, and putting the wool over my eyes again, and I was falling for it. So you know, one step forward, two steps back. So I've been on a real journey with this deck, and I've been on a real journey with my inner child dark facet this month, and I'm going to go into that a little bit more in the video as mentioned. And I know I keep teasing you with it, but it all sounds, when I talk about it, obviously when I talk about it, I know what my journey has been, you know, and what it's taken me to get to this point. But if you've never been in any of my videos, or never seen any of my videos before, and never been on my channel, and I'm suddenly talking about myself in like a third, fourth, fifth person, I do understand that you're like, what's going on? But it's the way, I suppose, that makes sense to me, and the way that I can untangle the threads, you know, by pulling it apart, these facets of myself. Yeah, that was really badly explained again. I do feel it. I do feel everyone's going, woo, whoa, what trip is she on? Because I don't know, but I want part of it, you know. I'm selling tickets. So yes, that dark passenger, that inner saboteur, they pulled the wool over my eyes. They fooled me once, shame on me. They won't be fooling me twice. I can say that most definitely. So yes, so I was very naive when I started working with this deck and with the facets that I mentioned, and then as the month went on and I realised that I had been taken for a ride, I realised that I'm still going to be meeting these facets with love and compassion, and I'm not going to be fearful of them, because that's where they gain their power, when I'm fearful of what they, you know, what they are capable of. Yeah, it's a long journey, and you know, I kid myself, and I'm what's the word? I'm naive in thinking, you know, I do a reading or a couple of readings, or you know, work with it for a week, and I'm like, oh, excellent, we're all healed now, everything's fine, and let's move on to the next stage. And of course, you know, healing isn't like that, is it? It's like this continuous circle. It's this cycle. You know, we work with things, and then maybe we fall back into old patterns, and we have to go back and revisit things. It's a continuous, I don't want to say effort, but it's a continuous journey to keep our personal growth going, and keep improving, and not returning to those old thoughts, old beliefs, old patterns, old ways of being. It's a conscious effort all the time, I think. Yeah. With this deck, I also obviously brought forward the Cries of the Soul Oracle. This I've mentioned recently in a video, so I'm not going to speak too much about it, but this is just so supportive. The guidebook is absolutely phenomenal. It's just really, really great. Mass market deck. I think this is, it's shot up in my the tools of my practice. It's like, you know, it's probably one of my top 5 decks right at the minute, along with the Cave of Sybil, and even maybe Tarot V, I would say. Yeah, it's up there with those, definitely. So yeah, self-sabotage, yes. Been working with that a lot this month. So yes, that was those. The last deck I think I'm going to talk about, oh, I've got 2 more decks actually, I'm lying to you. Mindscapes Tarot, this one came in. And I was talking recently in a video about making more of a conscious effort to listen to that inner voice, listen to my intuition, listen to my soul, and to feed it accordingly. And this deck kind of, I kind of used for, this is going to sound strange again. Oh, you know, I'm not going to give you more disclaimers. You know this channel's woo. Get with the program, or you know, this is possibly not your bag. So I've been using this to like kind of, you know, tap into that voice, that inner voice. So it's not my inner high priestess. I use the intuitive night goddess for that. This is more, I suppose it's more like tapping into the source, my yeah, can I say my soul? Sorry, had to check on my kitty cat who was being a complete maniac. Yes, so I've been using this to tap into the inner voice in my soul. And this made sense to me because obviously there are no figures in this deck, and it feels very deep to me, this deck. This almost feels to me like, how am I going to explain this? It almost feels like these are the memories that my soul has retained through my maybe past lives or past journeys, whatever you want to put it, that I can tap into now for their wisdom. That's what this deck. That's the way I've tapped into this deck. And when I first saw this deck, when it was on pre-order, I was thinking, no, I don't know. I don't think that's going to be anything for me. I've got the Tarot Landscapes deck, and that, I've never or haven't used so many decks without people in them, and so Tarot Landscapes brings up more questions for me than it answers in readings. And so I was thinking, when this one came up, I was thinking, oh no, I don't really need it. And then something just like, again, called to me intuitively, or however you want to put that. And then once I got it in, and I was doing this work with these darker facets, and listening to my soul and feeding accordingly, I don't know, it just made sense, and it just it clicked for me. And so when I started using this one to tap into that voice, that inner knowing, that's the way I tapped into this one. So for me, it's like these moments of past lives that have been collected as wisdom for the life I'm currently in. Oh, I was going to give a disclaimer about woo-woo, but I'm not going to, because you're here, and we're doing it. We're talking woo. Last deck, this one. You probably saw this on my secondhand pre-loved haul video that I put out recently. I'll put it in the description box. Oh, I so like this one. This was a secondhand deck. It was very grubby when I got it, and I was planning, I didn't plan first of all to get a secondhand copy of the Thoth, if I'm going to be totally honest, because a few months ago this was like there was a complete blockage for me with this deck, and then the blockage evaporated, and here we are, and I decided to purchase a second copy. The cardstock is delicious. It's like a warm knife through butter. It's just gorgeous. And I mentioned in that whole video that the energy that I got with this deck when it came through to me, it was so well used. I got this welcoming, warm, supportive, gentle, dare I say, energy, I think, from the previous owner of this deck, I'm going to assume. It's lovely. Oh, it's so good. And I've been putting it daily since I got it, and since edging it in this hot red. And that's what I was going to say. I had kind of planned, if I did buy a second copy, that I was going to edge it in hot pink. But then when I got this one through, and I was like, oh no, it needs to be fiery red, because although it doesn't feel fiery, it feels really gentle and loving. I don't know why, but it makes sense. So another deck I used for the month of August was the Every Little Thing You Do Is Magic Tarot. This was a deck I mentioned in my August decks and intentions. It was a deck that I wanted to deep dive. I wanted to go deep, mainly because of the guidebook. There's a guidebook that comes with the actual deck, and then there's an extended guidebook, which is, I would say, about an A4 size, with some exercises and some different activities and some different ways to explore the card meanings. Now, if you watched my August Decks and Intentions video, you'll know that I'd already planned to use this deck for the month of August, and I didn't want to create a journal for it. So I decided to use a pre-existing journal that I had in my collection, in my stash, and I decided to paint the cover art of the deck onto this journal, so that once it was on my shelf I could see what deck this journal related to. So here you'll see me, just throwing some paint on the journal, and having a bit of just enjoying the journey, enjoying the process. So I ended up pulling 1 or 2 cards, not every single day, but several times a week, and working from that larger guidebook, and obviously using the journal to record the details of that journey. I'm not going to say that I received anything really profound with the readings that I had done during the month of August, and that might well be that's possibly me being unfair. That could well be because I was having some really profound moments and epiphanies with the Hush Tarot and with the Curious Travels tarot deck. So that could just be me being a little bit unfair. Do you have this deck? Do you own it? How do you find working with it? I'd be really interested to know. I'd be also really interested to know if you pair this deck. I actually paired this one back in May with another deck, but this time I really felt that it needed to stand in the limelight. It needed to stand in the spotlight by itself and not be overshadowed by any other decks. And I think I might need to do that once again, maybe, in a couple of months. But now I've got the journal and I can use it whenever the fancy takes me. So here's me putting the final touches to the artwork on the front of the journal. I think it's looking pretty much okay. I think it's more the journey of creating the artwork than the actual final result for me. I'm slowly learning that on the journey that I'm on. So the Every Little Thing You Do is Magic Tarot. This obviously, really tapped into that animal energy that I wanted to, pay more attention to this month. These are the backs. Let's show you a few of the cards. I love this with the wolf and it's just gorgeous. So yeah, so this really, really worked. I think I'm going to continue with it. I think I'm going to continue drawing, a card here and there and using my journal. Which I'm really happy with the way this one turned out actually with the journal. It was therapeutic, bit of artwork, fills my cup, lights my candle, recharges my batteries. So yeah, watch out for this one turning up possibly in September. I'm not promising anything, but I think it might well do. There was some artwork that appeared from some readings that I got with this deck. This is the Wild Unknown journal, Kim Krantz. I forgot I had this, and then I was doing a bit of a not clear out, but like a reshuffle around with my creative space. And I saw this book and I was like, ooh! And the day after I got this really great reading with the Every Little Thing You Do is Magic Tarot, and I decided to, create this around that reading. It's not finished yet. I still need to finish it off because you know me, I tend to go all in it to win it, and then it kind of fizzles out. So I need to go back to this and just do the last bits. But this is to represent my facets of self and this spark of inspiration that was happening at the time that I was working with this artwork, and what was resonating for me within my practice. So yes, I need to go back to complete that. But I really like this book, I've got to say. There's some part started, dare I say, pages, and you can just jump in wherever you want on the page, whatever resonates for you. And there's a bit of a keyword. It's fantastic. So I need to, get more into this, and not be so precious about things. I spoke about grasping the spark of inspiration when it strikes, when it's lit. And I think I'm going to do that, and I think this kind of book is going to help me with that. So yeah, looking forward to getting more into this in the next couple of months. So another deck that came out onto my desk and even onto the floor, which will make more sense in just a second, is this deck. This is the Tree of Life Oracle by David Wells, artwork by Roberta Orpwood, I want to say the name is. This is a Hay House deck. Here's the box if you'd like to read it. Come on, camera, do your stuff. I don't know if that helped. The guidebook is actually really, really good, taking the mind of a complete newbie where it concerns the Tree of Life. So for me, this is really, really good. I used this as reference to create a poster actually, which that I want to use as a reference tool for a study that I'm doing about the Tree of Life. Now these cards are in order. So I used the actual deck and the guidebook to create the poster. And then when I was doing my readings throughout the month, I, kind of tapped into where the card was on the Tree of Life, and then went to this deck to kind of, get some more information about it. So yeah, beautiful deck, beautiful artwork, and as mentioned, for me as a complete newbie that doesn't know anything about the Tree of Life, this is really, really great, a really great tool. So I'm just going to say that I'm going to pop some pictures in here. I created this artwork with the help of this book and a couple of other books I've got in my collection, and I connected some cardboard together using masking tape to secure it, painted it, drew on the pillars, drew on the paths, and even coloured in the Zephyra on circles of paper. And I want to gradually, as I study and gain more information about the Tree of Life and the tree of Cliffoth, I think that's what it's called, Cliffoth. The Tree of Cliffoth, I think it's called. I want to add all that information onto the same poster as a reference tool. Not exactly sure how I'm going to do that with both the trees so far. I'm wondering about doing, I don't know, I haven't decided. But the point is that at the end of the day, this poster that I've created is going to go up on my walls as a reference tool. As a quick reference, hopefully. So yes, that's my plan. And yeah, this was a mass market deck, not particularly expensive, and it's been really, really helpful actually to to look more and to add another layer. Add another layer to my readings. It's been really, really interesting. Love this. So yes, so that was another deck that made it out onto my desk and even onto the floor whilst I was creating this artwork around the Tree of Life. Now, I was introduced to cosmic smashbooking by a lovely subscriber on my channel, and they mentioned it in one of my comment sections, and I was like, cosmic smashbooking? I've never heard of that. I'm going to go and have to do me some research. So of course, you know how that goes. I fell down a complete rabbit hole on YouTube with cosmic smashbooking. Now I'm going to link some videos below so that you can actually look at the concept, how it was intended. The way that I have translated this concept is that cosmic smashbooking is a way to engage the senses. So the first thing we do is to find a notebook. It can be any kind of notebook, and I just use a bog standard basic notebook that I had in my collection. Then you can create some cover art or decorate the notebook exactly as you'd want to. That kind of ignites the visual sense. Once you've done that, we stick our pages together in the book so that we touch every single page. So every other page we glue to the other. And by doing that, it's a mindful process. We go through the journal, we touch each page, and we imbue the notebook with our energy. So once that's done, we scrumple up the pages. Each and every page we scrumple up, which I really, really enjoyed because it suddenly made the journal feel much less precious. Once that's done, I added scent to the book. So I again imbued it with my own energy and with the energy of the scent. And then I even edged the book. Now all this is covered in the video that I'm going to link below. So I would totally recommend you going to watch that video. Now, as I understand it in cosmic smashbooking, the concept is to free journal and to record your feelings into the book, and then to cover that free journaling with artwork. Now, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep the journaling merely because it was free journaling that I had been doing in connection with this Dark Passenger and Inner Child work that I've been working with in the month of August. And this journaling and this artwork came about by a very powerful reading that I received through the Hush Tarot, which I wanted to document and wanted to record because it was just such an important message for me. So here is my cosmic smash book. I don't know if you can see the texture that I've got on this book. This is to kind of pick up that inner mausoleum, the outside of the inner mausoleum. So I've covered this with tissue paper and paint, obviously, and just made it look a bit, distressed and oldie worldy. So I did the same on both sides. I wish this video was smell-o-vision. I really do, because the way this book smells it's so good. It should be a crime. It should be illegal. The scent I added to this book is my absolute favourite scent in the whole wide world, which is this amber scent. Oh my goodness me! I've had this on my desk whilst filming. Oh, it's so gorgeous. It's so strong, and I use it sparingly because I don't want to run out. So I've probably had this about 4 years, I think, and I use it so carefully that when I get it out, I really notice the smell. It's so beautiful. It's so strong. Yes, so I've done some artwork in here, and yeah, I've done some bits and pieces, and I've covered the pages with the scent. So whenever I flip a page, it wafts up at me. Oh, it's just it engages the senses, this book. And as I mentioned in the video, the journaling generally, when you're journaling in your Cosmic Smash book, is then covered with the artwork, which I haven't actually done. I've wanted to keep the journaling that I've done. So what I've done is, because I'm following this red thread throughout my practice this month, or this year, sorry, I've actually stamped holes in the pages and then added this red thread that's running through through everything within my practice this year, basically. So I've done the same here as well. I journaled because I wanted to keep the journaling. I wanted to be able to go back and read it, and and look back at it in the future. So yes, so this was the page I was going to show you actually, and I created this page because a couple of weeks ago I was walking back from the supermarket late in the evening, and I stumbled upon this. Now, talk about a sign. This was a piece of, I don't know what it is, it's a piece of scraggly paper, which says, for me, it says Queen on it. And it was laying under a bush that had been nicely pruned, no, not pruned, what's the word? Trimmed, I'm going to say. And I'd already passed this bush on the way to the supermarket, and I did not see this. And on the way back, I was walking with my, shopping bags, and I walked past, and I saw this laying below the bush, saw the word Queen, and I looked at it, and I laughed to myself because, I'm kind of, I'm still following this whole pride in a queen phase of my life, and it's still in prominent place on my altar space. So this, it really resonates for me. And I even purchased a second-hand crown on eBay, which I'm going to take a picture of and show you here so you can see. So this kind of really resonated for me, and I carried on walking, giggling to myself, and I kind of stopped and I thought, this feels like a sign, a real sign. So I turned around, I turned on my heels and went back and picked this up and popped it into my shopping bag and brought it home, and it's now sitting in pride of place on my altar. And this Queen reference really became relevant to me after this had turned up, because this was when I had my infamous goose chase with the Hush Tarot, and with my dark passenger wanting to be the queen bee and wanting to be at the helm in charge of the reins. And I made some real interesting breakthroughs, and so I created this page. I did some journaling around the reading, and then did some artwork around this, wanting to be the queen bee, and I added some wax as well. I did some wax to the artwork as well, to almost to represent honey, to represent the nectar. So yes, so this is going to be an ongoing project, and I don't have any plans really. I just do it when the fancy takes me, and the whole point with the Cosmic Smash booking is that, it's not supposed to be perfect, it's not supposed to be amazing, we're just supposed to create and enjoy creating and enjoy the process. And if we can, if I can get some journaling in there in the process, and bust open some doors, as it were, in the best possible way with my dark passenger and inner child facets, then I'm all the more for it. So let's get into some of the books I've been reading this month. The first one out is Persephone, Pagan Portal's book. I got this a couple of days ago actually and read it pretty much in the same evening. I've tabbed quite a few places for from the things that have been feeling really relevant to me within my practice. I'm going to let you pause and read if you'd like to. Let's hope that's focusing. This was a really good book. There was quite a few bits in here that really, really resonated for me. The next book I got in at the same time was Walking with Persephone by Molly Raymer. You can see here I've tabbed where I've gotten up to. I haven't tabbed so many points in this book so far, and I haven't read. I haven't written any notes in the margins either. Let's hope this is what's the word? Focusing so you can see it. Please focus so you can read. This is more about a personal, almost like a personal diary of the author and their journey about, before they actually started walking with Persephone. That's as far as I've gotten so far. And at the minute, it's not really doing what I wanted it to do for me. But fingers crossed, it will warm up as it goes along. So this is another book that this is a book I'm going to be continuing reading in September. New books I got into my collection. Well, that would be this one, Feral Magic by Denny Sargent, Unleash Your Inner Animal Self. This was I think it was on Spotify. I heard the author being interviewed, and just the way they were speaking about the book really, really intrigued me. So I purchased this one as well. Let me see if I can do this so you can read. Pause if you'd like to read. So I'm looking forward to get into that one. Another book that came in this week was Apocalyptic Witchcraft. This has been on my wish list for quite a while. This is by Peter Gray, which is the same author that wrote the Red Goddess book, which I really love. Apocalyptic Witchcraft gives a compelling and profound account of the Sabbath and wild hunt as living experiences. Drum, lunar and menstrual magic are explored as a path to this knowledge. The wolf, the devil, and the goddess of witchcraft are encountered in a landscape that ultimately reveals the witch to her or himself. So intrigued about that one. I think that was going to be one that I'm going to be delving into very, very soon. Let's give you a bit of a look at the introduction page. Oops, sorry, I'm bending the book, or bending the pages. I think it looks very intriguing. Oh, so intriguing. So yes, those are the books. Should we get into very few secondhand finds? Let's. Now, it was a bit shoddy on the secondhand front, I'm going to say. The only things I bought were a couple of journals, and this was the first journal I purchased for a couple of pounds on the eBay. It's a magnetic closure journal, and I just wanted some very simple journals for when I wanted to. There are some practices that I don't want to create paper bag journals for. There are just some journals that I want a nice journal that I can just, dive into quickly and start the practice without having to create a new paper bag journal or a new handmade journal in advance. This was another one that I purchased secondhand. I think this is beautiful as well. This reminds me of like the inside of like a shell. I just think it's so beautiful, and these were just a couple of pounds. Obviously, people that have purchased journals, and they've been too pretty for people to use them. So those two I purchased, and then I even got my hands on another leather bound journal, and I think this is handmade paper. I don't know if you can see the texture of this paper. So this is very, very intriguing, very, very beautiful. It's got this flap on it, and it's actually missing the what's this called, like not the string but the closure to close the journal, and I'm wondering about actually chopping that bit off there, making that part into a bookmark to use as a bookmark from other books, and just making it into a journal like this so it closes like that, because this is it's a real shame not to see that beautiful cover. It's like bound like this, and this is the back. It's beautiful. So I'm thinking actually seriously about chopping that little bit of leather off and just using it as a bookmark, so be like that. But watch this space. But I just really wanted to have some simple journals, or some beautiful journals that I can just jump in with a practice without, as mentioned, having to make a book, my own journal for it. Does that make sense? I'm babbling. We're moving on. So I think that's it. I think we've spoken about all the bits and pieces. Well, I'm sure there's more, but I'm going to get into more of a deeper video about the, as mentioned, dark facets, dark passenger in a child in a mausoleum work, instead of trying to just pick at it here. It needs a bit of a dedicated video, obviously. So yes, how about you? What did you get up to for August? What was your most used deck that had the most time on your desk? Let me know in the description box. I would love to know. Otherwise, thank you for spending some time with me. I'm going to wish you a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. Take care, and I really hope to see you in the next video, which is September's Decks and Intentions. Hopefully I'll see you there. Toodaloo!